I am Commander Williams of the Oak Park Police Department. I've been with the police department for about 26 years. And I concur with everything that's been said here tonight. Interesting comment by Dr. Roberts regarding the relationship between the police and the schools and how important it is that we receive that type of information. And every now and then, we do get a phone call to say there will be a party at this location or that location. But principally, part of me wants to remind you that it is the parents. Parents are the guardians. They're the ones that are hosting that party. It's their responsibility to notify, well, one, to be aware of it if possible, and to notify each other. And then occasionally we do get the anonymous phone call from some disgruntled person. Maybe someone that was not invited to the party or someone that was kicked out, and they'll say there's a party over here. And we'll go and we'll do what we have to do from a law enforcement perspective. This meeting is good. This discussion is great. And we talked earlier, or it was discussed earlier about the kids and how knowledgeable they are. And they are knowledgeable. And this has been a topic of discussion in Oak Park and across the country for some time. So they know the basic facts. And I agree with Dr. Roberts, it's going to take more than just the basic facts. But for us, for the parents, for the gatekeepers, the school officials, law enforcement officials, public officials, that knowledge is instrumental. You need to know certain things. For example, that it is an issue. Our kids are exposed to these substances, alcohol, tobacco, and cigarettes. You need to know the available resources that are there for you if you reach out and search for them. I know, just preparing for this meeting, going on the internet and typing in a search phrase, something like, how is it that kids are exposed to this, to unlawful substances? How do they get addicted to unlawful substances? If you put in the search term, why do young people experiment with drugs and alcohol? There's a lot of information out there that's available to you. And just starting, just inquiring, just getting a knowledge base is going to help you overcome that tendency that we have as adults, and perhaps that we have as parents, to say, it's not my kid. This doesn't impact me. I mean, inside, deep inside, you know it does. You know they are exposed. And what we want to do is, in law enforcement, we tell people all the time, get your head out of the sand, pay attention to what's going on. And it's so frustrating from a law enforcement perspective, the lack of attention being paid to surroundings and what's going on. And I think that to some extent this has impacted this issue with parents, and that they don't want to be aware. So we want to encourage you to trust your instincts. If you suspect something, if you have a suspicion that something's going on, chances are your suspicion is correct. There'll be certain signs that are out and about and obvious to you if you look at your kid. Watch them when they come in the house. Watch the signs, the body language, the eyes, the tiredness, the hunger, the lack of hunger, the sleepiness. You know, you might attribute these things to normal behavior, normal adolescents as they're growing up. They're going to be tired coming from their practices and their music lessons and so on. But just watch the signs and put two and two together and inquire. So we're asking you basically to incorporate some law enforcement techniques and be a detective. Be Snoopy. The kids don't like it, but it's the only way. There has to be some form of check and balances. Someone in that household has to be the adult. Unfortunately, that's you. You made the decision to have kids, that means you have the responsibility. The police will support you. Oak Park, River Forest has a tremendous resource network that will support you, but you cannot abdicate the role. It's your responsibility to check. And they'll know. If you don't check, they'll know. And where there's gaps, where there's balances, where there's opportunities, that's when the temptation creeps in, and they'll take the opportunity. So here's what the police do know. I heard Dr. Robert's talked about this earlier. Here's some of the facts that we do know, also in addition to the facts that's already been presented to you. We know that smoking, drinking, and drug use by minors is happening. And we also know that it doesn't start out on a street corner. Yes, it may be in the parks or at some location that is a public facility. That's not where it starts. It's starting in the safe places where they can experiment in a comfortable, non-threatening environment. So that's basically your homes. They're gathering somewhere where it's safe, and there's always one house and a network of houses of friends. That's the comfortable place to go. And you might ask yourself, why is that place so comfortable? Have you visited the place? Have you walked around? Have you looked to see what's so comfortable? And there's some places that are just, for one reason or another, it's not necessarily the design. It's not what you might think. It's to say that, oh, well, they have a 60-inch flat screen television with awesome sound system. It's not necessarily that. It's not what you might attribute to be attractive to the eye. But there's a certain comfortableness to the environment that enables kids to come and hang out. And I suspect that one of the key issues is the lack of supervision. We know that there have been at least 27 wild parties in Oak Park in 2010, most of them involving youth. We responded to at least 5 such parties just in 2011. We've had numerous contacts with youth in 2010 involving underage drinking. At least one of such occurred in 2011 already. In the course of our enforcement activity, we've had approximately 1,226 various contacts with juveniles in 2010. That's just enforcement-related contacts. The most prominent enforcement-related issue is unsupervised kids, rowdies. Approximately 42 of these contacts occur in and around the schools. So the schools are sort of a hub, but I would agree with the doctor, the problem is not necessarily inside of the doors. It's after. Something about the school grounds where they feel comfortable. It's a meeting area, so it is a focus, but it's not the only focus. We arrested at least 21 children for violation of the drug laws in 2009, and for 2010 that number went up, at least 36. So far in 2011 that number is about 6 incidents. We issued at least 52 citations for consumption of alcohol by minors, hosting an underage party, providing alcohol to minors, and for the sale of tobacco to minors in 2010. In 2011, we've already had at least 4 such incidents. We know that when adults take a heightened role in the supervision of children, that when that phone call comes and we want to inquire where the parents are in the know, that the odds of something improper going on is less likely. So in other words, you got the active parent, the less likely that something illegal is going on. We know that children involved in the use and possession of alcohol, tobacco, and even drugs in Oak Park, and some are as young as middle school age. How do we know this? Because we're law enforcement, and in enforcement-related contacts, we're meeting with these kids. Lastly, we know that although criminal penalties are there, and some of that was already referred to tonight, that the civil issue is huge. So there may be criminal enforcement activity and criminal punishments, but the civil issue is just out there. It's looming, it's large. Most recently, I believe it's tomorrow, the Illinois Supreme Court is going to hear a case involving an underage drinking party. In Deerfield, the parents were arrested, and I would say that you should be aware of the circumstances in that case. It's going to impact what's going on in Illinois in terms of civil liability, which is a big thing. Now, as far as prevention tactics and techniques, your household, that safe environment we talked about, it should be very safe. So you have to look at it like a detective. You walk in your house like a guest and you find out what's available. And the slide showed us that this alcohol consumption is, or access to tobacco, access to substances is because you have them in your house. So you ask yourself the question, are you smoking? Are you drinking? Are you leaving these items out and available to your kids or to the guests of your kids? It was spoken about before regarding association and who your kids are hanging out with. Very important. So do you know? Do you check? Are you talking to these people? Is there some sort of network, or are you just trusting? If the house that the kids like to hang out with is a favorite house, and you're hearing this name or this family name all the time, ask yourself why, and then check it out and find out. And if the answers that you're not getting, or that you are getting, don't sit well with you, there's a reason why. So we know that influenced by their friends and family, as they grow older, our influence grows less, outside influence grows greater. So we know that their friends and their associations are important. So our time to exercise our maximum amount of influence is while they're young, very young. It's okay to say no. I don't know if anyone's told you that. You'd be surprised how much the police have to say that it's okay. You can say no. You have lawful authority. It's been entrusted to you by the state to say no, you can't go out. To know where they're going and who they're hanging out with, that's okay. To say no, you must be home by curfew. That's the law. And yeah, sometimes the kids don't want to listen to you, and sometimes they hate you. They're mad. How come I can't go? And they play you like a fiddle. And they play your emotions, and you want to be liked, and you want to be loved, and you want to be the cool parent, and the kids know that. So they'll play it, but that's okay. Be hard now, and it'll benefit them later. They'll understand later. And you use the line when they have kids of their own. Also, in conclusion, I want to point out you have resources available to you. The resident beat officers are Oak Park Avenue, an officer in each section, responsible for each section of Oak Park. We have information available on our website, oak-park.us. A resident beat officer has come tonight. He's got handouts for you, so you can find out who the officer is in your area. We have officers in the schools. These officers know what's going on. You can ask them to call you for confidential, we'll do it confidentially. Off-site something. We'll meet you at a coffee shop and we'll talk to you and give you ideas and be of support to you. Lastly, regarding that issue of your kids and them liking you and that sort of thing, it's sort of like supervision. You have to, yes, you can trust your kid, but you have to verify. Trust them, but verify. You have to know that there's that background there. Mommy, daddy will check. They will come in my room. They will look around because you've done it before. So you set expectations and you follow through. There has to be consequences. If you don't handle it, the police department will. Ultimately, the police department will have to. Thank you.